in, let's say, North America, I'm most familiar with this country, are on cruise control. And not because they mean to be, but they are using their remotes a lot or their screens a lot. And I don't think they've been given permission, encouragement, or help to really identify what their unique spark is. So when I meet a lot of people, I can tell they're checked out. And how do you know somebody's checked out? They don't make great eye contact. Here's my favorite way to know: they don't ever ask me a question about me. They have no free attention. I know when somebody's awake because they have curiosity in their eyes. They're living to learn. Norman Lear, who's passed, but he's a great icon of TV, he said to me at, I think, 100 years old, you can always learn something from anyone. And I think that's how you know people are really present. Instead of, oh, I've got this. No, I have no idea. Let's find out.
What if purpose isn't something that you chase, but something you find when you stop pretending? In the Holo Moment Purpose Lab, you will meet your mirror in the eyes of others. We used shared conversation and resonance to help you find your why. Our new teams are starting in September. Come and join us and become clear. Hi, my name is Zenka Caro, and I'm founder of LightNet. And my passion and purpose is to make the impossible possible. I am here today with Dr. Jennifer Freed. She is a world-renowned psychological astrologer, and she's also an expert in social emotional learning and is a best-selling author. She has spent the last 30 years bridging the gap between psychotherapy and astrology, helping people really dig into their true purpose and their true alignment. She's also the founder of AHA, which is a nonprofit dedicated to helping young people with social emotional learning. She's been featured on platforms like Goop, the New York Times, the Today Show, and her recent book, A Map to Your Soul, is really helping people discover what their true purpose is, how to deal with relationships, and really how to tap into your true potential. She is so kind and so wise and very strong and frank. And I really love this interview because she gives so much practical advice that you guys can start using tomorrow. Enjoy.
Well, I don't really think there's one singular purpose. I think the purpose is how we are in each moment. Am I present? Am I connected? Am I engaged? And I think that's become my measure of how purposeful I am. And in terms of my calling, like what I'm here to deliver, I'm a psychological astrologer, I'm an author, I'm an educator, I'm a spouse, I'm a mother. I have many callings. And I think the main thing is they're all infused with a sense of exuberance and gratitude. I think as a young rebellious fuck up, I experienced a lot of distraction, a lot of disassociation, a lot of trauma, and not being present. And I'd even be with people or doing what I'd be doing, going, why am I not with them? And it would really hurt me, and I would feel less connected. So as I started doing my practice and the mindfulness and the therapy and the trauma work, I realized what I want more than anything is to be with people, be with nature, be with the animals. And that's my calling at the deepest level. So being present for me as an astrologer, I have a Taurus moon, so I know you by how I feel inside. It's an experience, it's not a concept. And so when I'm with you, if I'm really present, I feel relaxed, I feel warm, I feel open, my heart is expanding, I'm curious, I'm interested, I'm engaged. If I'm not with you, I feel dead, I feel cranky, I feel distracted, my knee hurts, and I'm not really listening. Well, for me, it's magic. I think magic is really misunderstood as some wave of the wand thing that happens. Magic for me is I look in your eyes and I see you and you see me, and there's this spark, and then everything's possible, what I call divine possibilities. It's a phrase I use a lot when I do coaching with astrology because I don't think anything's preset. I don't think anyone is fated to do this or that, but I think we have these divine possibilities, what I call a map to your soul. And when we're engaged in those divine possibilities, where the spark is, where the charisma is, where the love is, that's when I feel most alive. And that's what I want to enroll other people in their own divine possibilities. And sometimes they just had no one to talk to them about their numerous gifts and what was possible. I didn't have any one moment where this became clear. As a child, I was highly sensitive. I saw things other people didn't see. I had empathy other people didn't have. I spent a period of time really being in the darkness because of that. And then I got really good therapy and did movement work, and I bumbled along. But astrology came to me young, and I don't know why, because no one in my New York Jewish family had any interest. But it did come to me, and then I had a profound reading when I was 18 and a half, 19, and I went, this is something I need to learn about. So I got possessed with that idea then, but I was still doing many other things, but it's grown and has been like a lifelong romance for me, this astrology psychology connection, because I was also parallel training as a therapist. Well, as a map to your soul, from the day you were born, the moment you were born, the time you were born, the place you were born, it really does illuminate a lesson plan. I signed up for this, and these are my possibilities. It doesn't mean you can't transcend your possibilities. You can go off the map. But if you know, wow, these are some sectors I've really been designed to investigate and explore and experience, that is helpful versus, hey, just do what everyone else is doing. There's a saying that I like, which is, don't do what other people can do what only you can do. As Mercury in Capricorn, I'm extremely practical. And I was studying astrology all along, and this was a long time ago, and people thought I was crazy and a kook, so I didn't tell my therapy clients that. But at some point, when I was in my 30s, the therapy clients would find out, oh, you also do astrology. And I learned pretty quickly that if you know the transits, the timing of events, the divine possibilities, I was a lot more efficient and helpful to my therapy clients. And then I would do astrology on the side as just astrology, but I would bring my psychology skills. Why does astrology work? I have no frickin' idea. And I really don't like it when people want to make it a science, because I'm not even that enthusiastic about science. I mean, it's fabulous, but it's the next best guess, and we're always disproving things that people have said are facts. It's a mystical oracle art that's as old as human beings. Astrology has been in every culture because people before electric lights saw the planets and the stars as luminaries, gods and goddesses. So they were very involved and participating in the mysteries of the universe. I don't know why it works. I just know 40 years into it, thousands of clients, except for people that are forced to see me, which I never do anymore. Everybody's like, wow, this is really powerful. Every time. So I don't understand, like the great mysteries on the planet, I don't understand. I'm just a servant of those mysteries. The moment you're born or in a conversation with each other, those are called aspects. It's kind of your inner committee. And then as time moves on and the planets move through the sky, they aspect different parts of your committee. So when you're 21, you have a Saturn square. When you're 28, you have a Saturn return. Certain things happen at different moments in a lifetime, and those are the portals or gateways to certain lessons. I can tell you that mostly people come to me, when they're in some state of fear, concern, or overwhelm because something in their life has changed. And I call it a cosmic visitor. Somebody's walked in archetypally that they're like, holy, what is this? And I help them make sense of that in terms of what's the offering, what's the possibility, how can we upscale this particular energy into something really fruitful. Again, what's been hard for me my whole life is I've never been conforming. I don't know, from day one, I didn't feel like, oh, I don't really get these people and why are they being mean? And I don't understand why people are treated badly that have this color skin. I didn't understand any of it. I felt like, what happened to this place? So early on, I felt like a misfit. Then getting interested in astrology before anyone else really was, I just confirmed my being weird. Then I'm a woman that is attracted to men and women and I don't identify as anything, and that didn't help the project. So here's the truth. I think I'm well suited to be an oddball. And I think that's been hard, but I think as an outlier or an outsider, I've been able to offer everybody that has a wound about belonging a place to belong. I think it's great. The wound is where the light comes in. And I think people mistake often that I am the wound. It's not I have the wound, I am the wound. And where people can get very off track with trauma or woundedness is they begin to tell a story of victimization and victimhood. Yes, we've been victimized, but victimhood is a noun, and now you're in a jail. And I like to think that my wounds, and I've had many, are invitations for me to be more resilient, more compassionate, more loving, more powerful, more bold. I think each person is a unique, perfect assemblage of their own gifts and flaws, both the shadow and the light. So the biggest hindrance to growth is saying, well, what are they doing? Should I be doing that? And I think what I've been able to do and support other people to do is, if you don't feel like you fit in, great, you can stand out. I have an incredible group of friends and healers. Like, one thing I want to say for sure, I'm the first person to get help. Like, yes, I'm a coach to people and I do a lot of amazing work, but there's not one part of me when I start hurting that thinks I better do this myself. I always get help. So I have great healers. I have great friends. My spouse is amazing. Well, one thing I know for sure, and again, this is something I think about a lot. My friend just said it to me today because I'm learning Mahjong, and so every single day I play, and she goes, the difference between me and you, because I really suck at it, is you're going to play it every day. I think the main ingredient people have forgotten, you don't get to purpose without effort. So whatever it is you're interested in, I think there's way too much emphasis on it should be delivered to you. And my entire path is I've worked hard for every single thing I've gotten. And in that, I've been given so many opportunities and grace, but not one thing came to me because I was sitting on the couch going, when am I going to find my purpose? That never happened. I think when people have trouble getting the motor going and running, they need more help. Again, I think this is the most underrated part of being a fully actualized person, is we were put on this earth together. That's a very important thing to remember, not alone. And there's all these resources. And I think whether it's free resources or paid resources or incredible apps, we need, when we're stuck and the tire is just repeating a cycle of stuckness, to keep reaching out till we find the support that helps us get unstuck. Whatever it takes. I'm like for whatever it takes. I was coaching some pretty well-known people, and one of those people said to me, you're amazing, and I think you should do more with this. And I'm a go-getter, so I said to that person, can I write for your magazine? Yeah, let's give it a whirl. So I started writing, and some people were making fun of me because I never got paid, but I wanted to have a voice. And so I was writing and writing and writing. And then that turned into offer to publish my first book in astrology that became a bestseller at 60 years old. And I want to make that point too. Because one, I'm very age positive. Like, if you get to be my age, yay. But also, like, nothing that you care about has to be monetized initially. Just do it. And I was just doing it and doing it and doing it. And then it turned into the first book and then the second book. And then I got so many clients. And so really, starting from 60 on, as the whole world's waking up to astrology, I'm now an elder that has some knowledge and wisdom. And so that's when it really took off for me professionally in making a living too. Well, a session is always run the same way. The consumer, is the expert on themselves. I'm the facilitator. So I really hate that power differential. I'm the knower and you have to depend on me. It's like, no, you know you. I've got some skills. So the first part of the session is talking to them about their astrology chart and what are the gifts and divine possibilities and the obstacles. The next part of the session is they talk to me confidentially about what's up, like what's happening. And because I have the psychology background and the astrology, I can really help them make a contextual understanding of what they're going through, the timing of it, and the best way to navigate it, both the good things and the hard things. Well, I think most of the people in, let's say, North America, I'm most familiar with this country, are on cruise control. And not because they mean to be, but they are using their remotes a lot or their screens a lot. And I don't think they've been given permission, encouragement, or help to really identify what their unique spark is. So when I meet a lot of people, I can tell they're checked out. And how do you know somebody's checked out? They don't make great eye contact. Here's my favorite way to know: they don't ever ask me a question about me. They have no free attention. I know when somebody's awake because they have curiosity in their eyes. They're living to learn. Norman Lear, who's passed, but he's a great icon of TV, he said to me at, I think, 100 years old, you can always learn something from anyone. And I think that's how you know people are really present. Instead of, oh, I've got this. No, I have no idea. Let's find out. The biggest advice I have for anybody that feels dull, and we all have felt that, but dullness is a feeling of I'm kind of numb. I don't wake up with any kind of joy or excitement. Maybe I'm depressed. You know, dull is a very brown, dark feeling. And I know for sure the only antidote to that is movement. Like, I'm certain of it now. Because I've seen people that are too heavy for themselves or too dull for themselves, or even me when I'm down. If I dance for 40 minutes, ecstatic dance, and I do this, I am not dull or depressed anymore. I think that we've forgotten we're animals primarily, and animals sitting or being stuck die. So we need to remember that we have this body, whatever capacities we have. You can move no matter what your capacities are. If you move 30 minutes to an hour a day for the purpose of joyful movement, for sure that's going to make you less stuck. Oracle decks. Well, one, I use them. So I love Oracle decks because for me, I can get in bed and I can pick a card, and I just think it's so fun and great that you can just pick a card and it reflects to you your unconscious. I think that's amazing. So for me, it was really joyful. And then I was approached to make a deck after my 2 books. And so I made that deck for the people that wanted me to make it. It's called Cosmic Parenting. It's beautiful. It's so well done. And then I had a passion to make a deck. And again, I went to this one publisher that's international, and they said, no, we're not interested. And then I went 7 months later, you're really wrong. You are interested. And so I made a deal with them. And then that deck is a deck that really teaches you astrology, and it's an oracle deck. Well, Jung had the idea, of course, that we have a collective unconscious, and other people have this framework too, that we're always all connected, we just forget. And so to me, there's this sense that everything that we need to know and that we are curious about is within us. And therefore, objects reflect it, messages reflect it, cards reflect it. But the minute you sit down and say, I'd like to take a look at this day today through a card, you've already made a relationship with this unconscious. It's like asking your dreams before you go to sleep, night after night, reveal to me something. They will. I think the world's always speaking to us, but mostly we've put the earmuffs on and we don't listen. But tarot or dream work is like saying, I'm listening, tell me. What got me into writing fiction? A very good friend of mine, a man, has written 2 novels, and I was so admiring that he had done that, but I couldn't relate to these novels at all. They're like boy stories. And I just went, I love you. I think it's amazing, but this isn't for me. And so then the rebel part of me went, well, you arrogant person, you're like, so this isn't for me. Have you ever written a novel? That's what got me going. And then also because the world had become very dark for a period, I don't know if anyone else has felt that way. I'm a romantic and I'm in love every day. And I thought, well, I'll give it a whirl. And that's why I started writing was 1, don't be so judgmental. And 2, I have a love story I wanted to tell. Beyond Aquarius has 27 5-star reviews on Goodreads. Jane Lynch just gave me a promotion. The most surprising thing about this is this would never be the place I think I'd get the most acclaim. And it's still, trotting out. It's a very small book publishing type thing. But people love this book. And it makes me so happy and kind of vindicated because it's a love story and people need love right now. And it's also astrology and psychology and all the things I care about. But what they said and my partner said in front of me, no offense, Jennifer, but Jane, what do you really love about this book? Because she's going, people are loving this book. And Jane said it's uncynical. And I think that may be the truest part of my heart is that with all the suffering I've gone through and others go through, I really believe in love. And no matter what the outer circumstances are right now, I think people can go toward that energy and feel better. Well, there's no what to expect. We co-create. So whenever people say, what's going to happen? I say to them, what will you be doing? I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to do my part. But the title Beyond Aquarius is because I am an Aquarius sun sign. But the idea is that we need to get beyond the labels, beyond the bodysuits, beyond the concepts of difference and other, and start really residing in the Holy Spirit in each person. And so the book came out of that idea, like what's beyond all of this reduction of human beings into labels and identities and all of that. It depends what day it is, because sometimes I can be rude and obnoxious and cold. So that day, probably not very good. But mostly, I think in my work and in my joy, I've been told a lot that people have felt very inspired to do their work because of me. And I know I've mentored a lot of people to start their own fiery path of expression. I know that. Well, for sure what holds people back is fear and the critic in their head. Those are the two things I'm certain of. If people didn't have a fear of what other people thought or a failure, like I'm big on failure, I have failed a lot. I think fail fast, get up faster. So fear of failure, fear of shame, fear of public ostracism, big ones. And then just the basic, who am I to do this? And I always think, who am I not to do this? Well, first it's a psychology technique, but you just have them name all the projected fears and bad things that are going to happen. Like that's just a standard thing. Like what are all the worst things that could happen? Okay, let's say all those things happen. First you have to face the fear and make it not the demon, but an incentive. So for example, I was working with somebody the other day who was really scared because they're getting very famous that they'll be killed. I said, okay, go with that. So you'll be killed. Just go with it. It's like, it's the worst things, as an author once said, the worst things that have ever happened to me never happened. It was Mark Twain. I think so much of what keeps me back or keeps most people back is the what ifs. So I say, bring on the what ifs. It's okay. Okay, and how's that going to be? And what will it be like when you're dead? And what will people do? And what if you aren't killed? Then what is it going to be like? Like, that's a possibility for sure. But what are some other possibilities? That's one possibility. But many famous people don't have to die. So how would it be different for you? So first, it's acknowledging that we're scared and we've been told that it really matters what people think about us and if we're going to love us and if, all of that matters. But at the end of the day, you're playing one game of life. That's it. You don't get a redo. So I want to be in the court with people playing. It means you get up and you just give it your all. And your all sometimes is being a crying mess on the floor, calling a friend saying, I'm a crying mess on the floor. Like the all isn't all bright and shiny, but it is the all. Go for it. Whatever it is, go for it and have a sacred crew. My main thing about my success and anyone else I've ever met is no one does this alone. Get your people. Get inspiring people around you. Oh, here's a big one. If you're around complainers, find a new set of friends. I've never met people that complain habitually that are, one, joyful or doing things that I want to be part of. The sacred crew metaphor is the idea you're in a lifeboat, right? And who do you want to be alongside when things get rough, when you're seeing the best sunset of your life, when the dolphins are jumping, when there's a leak? And so it's very intentional to think, who can I count on? Not everybody has to have the same skills. Let's say I'm in a really bad mood. I've got like 7 different people I could call because somebody might not be home. It's like you have to really democratize your suffering and your joy. But one thing's for sure, are they people that are happy for you? Like that's a big litmus test because a lot of people are going to be there for your misery. We call it misery poker. Oh no, mine's worse. No, yours is worse, the misery poker. But how many people, when you do something amazing, are like, yes! And as happy for you as they'd be for themselves. Part of my work for my entire life, and it's in my astrology chart, since I've been 20, is I lead groups. And I lead very intentional groups of people from all over the world, and they actually become each other's sacred crew. It's really extraordinary. So yes, I facilitate, but I'm not going to be on every one of their sacred crews. I'm just a facilitator, but they connect with each other. I have an art group going right now. I have another group going, and this is where people go, I see you, I'm for you, and they keep in touch. It's very exciting. As you've all noticed, we're in a time of extreme for humanity, and we don't know the outcome because we're choosing it. We are in a critical moment of deciding the fate of the planet and the human species. And I feel hopeful, especially right this minute, that the movement is arising. And it's going to be absolutely dependent that every single person thinks they have a part in this. Nobody can be left out. Because if we're going to really radically reimagine the future, we're going to need to all be on board. So the astrology is, it's Pluto in Aquarius, meaning the intensification of humanity and its project for the good or the bad. So let's just see what we're going to do. Luckily, I was raised by activist parents who brought me to peace marches. I had the experience of being involved in stopping the Vietnam War. I was there. When a person knows that they are part of the outcome, it's compelling. And sometimes people forget that this is not the United States of America because we have a government. It's we the people. So to me, it's remembering that if we have a democracy where you have a say. Like my dream would be 89 to 95% of people would be involved in what this future is. And I feel very convinced if we were at that number, the entire vibration would rise. It's easy to understand vibration. The minute you walk in the room and you see somebody, you feel something, good, bad, something. We're all very attuned to energy, which you could call vibration. You know that if you walk into a household where people are bummed out, let's say 3 of them, and you walk in even bright and happy, oof, I don't feel very good. Energy is a fact. It's not even a concept. It's like we are orbs of energy. And depending how it's firing off, it's either positive and upbeat, or it can be very deadening and very negative. Vibration lifting is when people are in clusters and groups of people that feel engaged. Engagement is a positive energy. However, I want to make one distinction. If I'm engaged in battle, that's a very negative energy. Some people are being mobilized to battle, and that is a very dark and intense and negative energy. If I'm engaged or mobilized to contribute, that's a very high energy, very different. One is, you're the problem and I'm going to get you. The other is, I'm the solution and I'm going to contribute. Well, I think if everybody really remembered who they were and what was possible and had the support, I mean, I really believe deeply that we all need more support, then I think that people would be naturally more generous, more thoughtful, more caring. And what would that look like? Well, I have a million ideas on policies that could be changed based on caring and thoughtfulness and concern for other, but I think they would organically evolve. My words of encouragement to anyone that's feeling hopeless, despair, stuck is, this is not the end of the story. And with the right people around you, however you find them, you will remember who you are, and it's never too late. That's the biggest thing I want to say to people. Like, you are here as long as you're here, whatever day it is, whether you're waking up at 20 or 70, that could be the day. If you are very clear that you want to wake up. Because for me, that is what I ask for every day. I talk to my guides and angels and I just say, please help me. And they do. So there's always assistance if you're willing and ready to make that intention to wake up. Just say, help me, help me, help me wake up. And one day, even though it may seem like overnight, those things come together and things will be revealed to you that will help you. I can tell you, so here's the